What's up everybody, Mike here. I made some turtle cookies. The ingredients that you're going to need for my turtle cookies are laid out before me here. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt for my dry ingredients. For my wet ingredients, I have 2 cups of white sugar, I have 1 1/4 cups of softened room temperature butter, and then I have 2 eggs with 2 teaspoons of vanilla. That is going to be combined and turned into a dough before I stir in 2 cups of roughly chopped pecans. I'm going to walk you through the process to make these cookies next. So the very first thing that you are going to do is just combine all of your dry ingredients and get them whisked together in a bowl, and then set this aside while you are creaming together your butter and sugar and incorporating the rest of your wet ingredients. Once that is nice and fluffy, you are going to stir in your eggs one at a time with a little bit of that vanilla as well. Make sure to scrape down the sides of the bowl in between each egg that you add in. With 1 egg fully incorporated, time to add in the rest of the vanilla and the final egg. This has now completely changed its overall complexion. It is a nice pale yellow color, if you can't see that with my awful camera. And it has doubled in size almost with everything that is going in. So now I'm going to start stirring in my dry ingredients, and I'm going to do this in about 3 stages. And once it looks like you have completely stirred in all of your dry ingredients, that's when you're going to go ahead and very quickly stir in your chopped pecans. Now this dough is going to go into the fridge for about 30 minutes while I am preheating my oven to 375 degrees. Then I'm going to portion this out onto a parchment-lined baking sheet before baking for about 12 to 15 minutes. And I'm going to show you what they look like before I put them into the oven next. My cookies are done resting. I have portioned them into nice large cookie balls. They're going to go into a preheated 375 degree oven for about 12 to 17 minutes, depending on everything. I'm going to check on them starting at 12 minutes, and then for every about 2 minutes after that. I'm going to show you what they look like when I am pulling them from the oven next. My cookies are out of the oven. I have some parchment underneath my cooling racks so that when I drizzle my caramel over the cookies, it is not a complete disaster of a mess underneath. So those are going to sit and cool down to room temperature, and then once they are cool to room temperature, that's when I'm going to drizzle them with my caramel sauce. I am going to show you the final product next. What you're going to need for the caramel drizzle for these cookies is going to be 14 ounces, that's 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. I have 1 cup of light brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and then about 2.5 teaspoons of vanilla. This is going to go for a nice salted caramel drizzle to cut all of the sweetness with the chocolate, and I'm going to show you the process to make this next. To make the caramel drizzle, you are going to take your sweetened condensed milk and your brown sugar in a medium sauce pot, and you are going to bring this to a boil and boil it for about 5 minutes. You want to whisk constantly so that it does not burn and that everything gets well incorporated. Once that has had a chance to boil for about 5 minutes and deepen in color, that's when you're gonna stir in your butter, vanilla, and your salt off the heat. You wanna make sure that you are stirring this constantly while it is on the heat. It's gonna be boiling, and you wanna make sure that nothing on the bottom is going to be burning. It may look calm on the surface, but as soon as you start to stir it, you're gonna see some big bubbles from underneath the surface start to explode towards the top. So you wanna make sure that everything is very well mixed so that nothing burns. I'm gonna show you the final bit of this caramel next. And with my caramel sauce removed from the heat, I'm gonna stir in my salt, vanilla, and butter. It's gonna be very thick, and that's the way that I want it, so that whenever it is on the cookie, it actually stays on the cookie and doesn't immediately run off. So you gotta stir in that butter. It is gonna take a little bit of time to get that fat mixed in there. But now this is ready to drizzle over my cookies. And you're gonna see that next. All right, so my caramel sauce is still warm. It's no longer just piping hot. So I just want to drizzle this all over my cookies. I'm going to use the whisk that I was using here and just give me some nice big lines of caramel over my cookies. And this is what my cookies look like once they have had their caramel drizzle poured over them. You do not have to be fancy with this. If you want to get out a piping bag, by all means go for it. But I'm going to let this set for a little bit, and then I'm going to tear into them next. And that is how you make my turtle cookies. I really hope you make it. Let me know your thoughts if you do, but for right now, just look at my face.